Hey, welcome to First Take. I'm Brian Custer. I'm in for Molly. And look, we got the full crew here. Hey,
Soul Train.
Looking very nice. Stop. We just started.
We not put us together.
And let me tell you something. Somebody got the Christmas suit on today.
Bishop looking nice.
The Bishop came in hot today.
The tie was made from Rumpelstiltskin.
Davey and Woody with us as well. Everybody looks great. Y'all ready to dive into this?
Wonder what we're going to talk about.
Well, let's talk about Russ, because Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos have certainly made the decision, a shocking one, to bench Russell Wilson for the final 2 games of the season.
Shocking.
And give the starting job to his backup, Jarrett Stidham. And our Adam Schefter reporting the team likely to release Wilson in the offseason. Here is Sean Payton on why the move was made.
I understand all the speculation and everything that surrounds a move like that. And I can tell you, look, we're desperately trying to win. And sure, in our game today, there are economics and all those other things, but the number one push behind this, and it's a decision I'm making, is to, get a spark offensively.
Okay, I want you guys to take a look at something, because they're saying football decision, but obviously it comes down to the money, because Russell Wilson has $37 million in 2025. That's guaranteed for injury only, and it becomes fully guaranteed on the 5th day of the 2024 league in March. So a big part of the benching revolves around the Broncos limiting that amount of risk, having to pay him that $37 if he get injured these last 2 games of the season. Russ, by the way, took to social media last night, had this to say, quote, "God's got me, looking forward to what's next." The interesting thing here, Denver basically will be looking at $85 million in dead money on their cap next year if they're going to release Russell Wilson. Kmart, when all of this goes down, do you think Russell Wilson, this trade, will it go down as one of the worst in NFL history?
Yes,
the worst.
I do. And the reason is because at least with the Herschel Walker trade, at least they made it to the playoffs in Walker's first season. Like, the Broncos have literally nothing to show for this trade for Russell Wilson. I mean, this is a team last year with Nathaniel Hackett, terrible. This year with Sean Payton, his numbers are decent, but you are not paying Russell Wilson this much money to be decent. And I think, like, Brian, you even said it, $85 million dead cap. Like, that is awful. And when you think about how this is a franchise, and really when I look at the Broncos, this is a franchise that, even with Elway as their GM, could not get the QB situation right. They have tried, searched high and low for the next guy, and Russell seemed like he could be that guy. But even when this trade happened, you weren't sure. You were like, okay, let's see if Russ can make it happen here. So really, the Broncos have nothing to show for it except we are now just paying a guy $39 million next year, and he's not even going to be on our team.
Now, you can obviously spread that out depending on the date here in June. Spread cap.
Spread it out. Get one lump. It's still that's a lot of money.
Is it worse? Money. Is it the worst?
It's one of the worst, but I don't think it's the worst. I still think the Herschel Walker trade is the worst because
why?
Because the Herschel Walker trade literally led to a dynasty by the Dallas Cowboys. Think about it. If you think about that trade, remember, for people out there, originally Jimmy Johnson tried to trade away Michael Irvin to the Raiders, to the then Oakland Raiders at the time. Al Davis talked him out of it. So the next person, he thought, okay, we need picks and players. Who's the one chip that we have was Herschel Walker.
MVP.
So dealing away Herschel Walker not only got all those picks, but then Jimmy Johnson flipped picks for even more picks to really build out that whole team and turn the Dallas Cowboys to the dynasty that we now know back in the 90s. Now, listen, I know everyone talks about, as it relates to Russell Wilson, the fact that the Denver Broncos didn't reach the postseason. Sean Payton, Denver Broncos right now are clearly in the playoff hunt. They haven't been eliminated.
Right.
This is Sean Payton almost seemingly punting on trying to get to the postseason for financial reasons. We all know what Russell Wilson is owed. But the Denver Broncos have an opportunity, even with Russell Wilson, to try to make the playoffs. The big thing here, in my opinion, we talk about the compensation, all the picks and stuff that was given up. I think for me, the fact that we don't know what the Seattle Seahawks are going to be, even with all the players that they've gotten from this Russell Wilson trade. Now, if they go out there and they win Super Bowls or whatever, then I think they'll solidify it for me. But until we know what's going to happen in the Seattle aspect, for me, I'm still going to go with the Herschel Walker trade.
But the one thing you do see is Seattle making the playoffs, though.
Twice.
Twice since he's been gone. Geno Smith.
Geno had a.
Look
Did
at
we
those,
talk about this?
players. Weatherspoon, certified baller, right? You look at Mafe. Like they have the fundamental. They were able to reboot their roster and rescope their team and be able to be able to live with Geno Smith because of the Russell Wilson pick.
Yeah.
Not to talk about Noah Fant, the players that they already got that was proven. It's hard sometimes because I feel like we're judging the result because we already know the end of the story when you talk about the triplets and what that led to the 3 Super Bowls. But to me, this has to go down as one of the worst, right? And this is Sean Payton really just kind of burning the house down, right? And you can't tell me that he didn't go in there. We heard Antonio Pierce talk about the beautiful PowerPoint presentation that you go in when you're trying to get the job. You can't tell me that he didn't have one that featured Russell Wilson. And the fact that he's given up on the project already means that he already had his mind made up before he went in there, right? So that's why you see him trying to be, creative and think of a reason why. That's why he paused and stuttered so many damn times, like Joe, right? When you think about what he's trying to do, like like he's trying to make it up. Like, listen, make it make sense, right? And we have to start talking about this narrative that we talk about how coaches are guaranteed, but then how they can dump salary and get rid of guys in their contracts when they committed to them, right? He doesn't care because he's going to get paid his money regardless. Sean Payton money is guaranteed. He came and he finding people to blame. If anybody blame Vance Joseph because they lost 3 or 4 games early in the season because the defense sucked. One that we knew that was good the year before because they were top 5. And he came and ruined it, gave up a 70 burger. I didn't know if I was watching the beginning of the NCAA tournament when I saw that score. I thought I misread what the hell the score was, right? So let's blame that on him, right? And the fact that, we knew that when coaches come in, he's going to have a honeymoon phase. And that's what Sean Payton's in, where he had more power. You see him getting rid of Randy Gregory, dumping all the salary they have. They're going to be bad for a couple years. They're going to try and rebuild it. But at the end of the day, once you start pointing the finger at everybody else and you get rid of everybody, at some point you have to point the finger at yourself because now you're going to be held accountable from this point going forward. And we'll see if he has that Joe Gibbs, if he has that Pete Carroll, if he has that, Dick Vermeil. Dick Vermeil. Let's see if Sean Payton can have a second act because we rarely see it be successful because they're going to be searching the hardest thing to find of all the sports. And that is a franchise quarterback. And to your point, they haven't found it, whether it was Paxton Lynch, whether it was Tim Tebow. They have had hard time in being able to develop a quarterback. We're in there, right? And we're in it, but they bought Peyton, right? So we're talking about an environment where you don't have patience, and you're in a division with arguably one of the best quarterbacks of a generation, and you have another generational quarterback in Justin Herbert. So we'll see. Right now, you laugh right here, Sean Payton, because you're getting rid of everybody. But the same thing make you laugh, make you cry, because you may be on deck.
I'm kind of surprised that even you didn't bring up Cleveland. How about the Deshaun Watson? Because Cleveland gave up 3 first-round picks. He's barely even played. He's always injured. They gave him a guaranteed $230 million, and on top of that, you got a 38-year-old Joe Flacco
but he's going to be the quarterback next year. I think here's why the Herschel Walker trade isn't that bad. Isn't as bad as this because Sean Payton is already punting on this season and they have a chance to make the playoffs. That's how you know this is a colossal failure because it's not about winning. It's not about we need a spark because they've been playing well enough to have a chance at this point. We have time to talk about Deshaun. Like, we got left on that deal. Like, there's still time to see how that ends.
And the fact that, they're still winning, we get the punt the same way you get to write the narrative when you win. Because right now, we could be talking about the Trey Lance trade and what that was all about, but because they found Brock Purdy, we don't bring that up.
Here's the interesting thing. Russell Wilson right now, 26 touchdown passes, 6th most in the league. It seems like it was bad fit as opposed to bad football, especially.
Man, arranged marriages never work. That's just on 90 Day Fiance.
All right, coming up, huge NFC matchup is going down in the Big D. But what would our crew rather have as their quarterback? Jared Goff for a playoff run or Dak Prescott? Let me tell you something. The answer is going to surprise some of y'all, and we're going to have much more. Of course, on that surprising news out of Denver, where will Russ end up next season? We got a couple of